Hi, Alison. I would like to
Right.
welcome you as a speaker in our upcoming conference on pregnancy and birth experiences and how those early events could impact our lives. I know you are a therapist, very experienced on caring for the trauma of babies, children, also and adults. And I would like you to introduce yourself.
I've been working with families and children with the BEBA approach and based on Dr. Ray Castellino's work I'm trying to figure it out, I think since 2001, something like that. And I've seen miracles happen. I've seen uh, babies come in who can't settle, who aren't nursing, where sometimes doctors say you're just going to have to use the bottle. You're not going to be able to get milk. And by using cranial sacral therapy and helping these families heal from trauma, the mother settles in her own nervous system, the milk drops, the baby is fed. And then they can really have a beautiful attachment and bonding in that experience, as well as healing. I mean, I've seen these babies who continuously cry, and the parents bring these babies in. And I remember when I first started working at the BEBA clinic, I was behind the camera observing Ray's work. And I don't think there was ever a dry eye in observing that work. Someone would hand him this crying baby, and within minutes, the baby would just settle and stop crying and look at him. Because he had this ability to really receive the baby as a sentient being. Like he knew it down in his bones, down in his soul. And most of us are treated as if we have no intelligence, no feelings as a baby, that we'll just forget the experience.
Yeah.
And he was an individual who actually promoted that we remember a lot. Our body stores those memories, and that when we're ready, the memories start to come up and we start to realize how conscious we've been, even from conception forward. Many people have memories even before conception. But to support those memories to come through can facilitate deep healing. I know from myself, I was really in search of someone who could help me with the earliest wounding in the baby places, because when that would surface in my own therapeutic journey, I felt lost. I would identify with this, precognitive little one inside of me, and didn't know how to talk, didn't know how to function, and couldn't find someone who could help me with that. Eventually, I discovered breath work, which really helped me work with some of these early places, and then Dr. Ray Castellino through his process called the womb surround, which I'll also talk about in my presentation. And that's an opportunity for adults to go back to the very early places, and it supports these memories to come up in a really loving, safe environment of 5 participants over 5 days, and 1 or 2 facilitators, and usually an assistant. So it's just a well-supported, sacred space for these experiences to surface. And Ray used to say, it's never too late to heal these places. And
It's never too late.
it's never too late to heal these early places. I've experienced such deep healing that I couldn't touch in regular therapy. So I love this work. And then in working at the BEBA clinic, I've worked there over the years on and off for like the past 11 years. I took time off to adopt my son, and then I went back and worked with them. And now I work with them a lot online, although I do see families in person. And in working with this approach, we work with something we call the 8 principles, which I'll also describe in the presentation. And these came up to create a structure or a form for how to facilitate these early places so that it's as if you have something to lean on, you feel supported. And this structure came up as a result of the research at the Beba Clinic to support the families. And then it also created a support structure for these womb surround process workshops. So I'll describe that. And then I'll also, in my presentation, show some short clips of how to support a baby to tell her or his story. So babies have a way of telling their story through their body movements, through their tensions, through their voices, through their sounds, through the way they look at you or the way they're not looking at you. I mean, I first learned about this experience when my niece, well, she's like my niece because they're family. She's really my goddaughter, but my best friend's daughter. I lived in a community, and so everybody was there to receive her and welcome her. There were 13 of us, and she was born in my bed because I had a bathtub right next to the bed, so my friend could go back and forth. And when her birth was not such an easy birth, she almost went to the hospital. This wonderful midwife, Mary Jackson, was doing the birth, and I remember she spoke to Aaliyah as she was coming through and said, in 1/2 hour, we are going to have to transport you to the hospital if you don't turn around. And she turned around and came out. It was amazing. And so the process of getting her there, and then Mary saying this to her, and then the baby responding to her, like Mary would also use her hands to show her, like, this is where you need to turn, and just kind of massage the body and help guide her there. And then Aaliyah just turned. And they had tried everything. They were working with a towel to, push the mother back and forth so the baby would turn around. And this was before I started training with Ray and working at his clinic. So after Aaliyah was born, every night at 6 p.m., when the light would start to go down, Aaliyah would incessantly cry. And so her parents would hand her to me each time, because for some reason I was able to get her to stop crying. And I just started to intuitively follow her movements until I would go like this with her and do this jerk. And she would look at me like, thank you, you get it. And then she would settle. And I didn't kind of put together that that's what the movement was to try and get her to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started studying with Ray, I was like, oh my God, that's what she was needing. She was needing someone to repeat that movement, because she knew when the sun started going down, that's when that movement happened. And that was very scary for her. And then another time when I was sitting with her mother and she was talking about the birth, all of a sudden we were looking at Aaliyah and she was moving her body, telling the story of the birth as my friend was describing. And we were reminiscing about the experience together. And we recognized this is Aaliyah telling the story with us. So then working at Ray's clinic, it's called BEBA, which is short for Building, Enhancing, Bonding, and Attachment. And it's really to support parents to heal this earliest wounding. It can be ancestral wounding. It can be wounding that happened in the womb, such as with toxic exposure, cigarette, alcohol, violence, stress, the parent attempting an abortion. If the baby lost a twin, there's so many things that can happen. And then, so we support that story coming out, and the baby shows that. as the parents are talking, the baby will tense up, the baby will make sounds. Like, you can see that this sweet little thing is responding to what you're saying. And then if you stay present with the baby and really connect deeply and acknowledge that the baby is sharing a part of the story, and really take a pause there with the baby, and the parents take a pause, it's what I call creating a heavy baby. The baby goes from holding everything tightly to letting go. And then this baby will get hot and clammy and just start releasing the trauma from their nervous system. And you feel it in the whole social nervous system of everyone present. We all get hot and clammy with the baby. But there's so many stories like that. And I mean, it's just, I learned so much at that clinic. And what touched me most with Ray is his ability to hold presence with a baby and receive the baby as a sentient being, intelligent in his or her own way, communicating to us and needing to be received and met and honored and validated, which is so much of the baby being able to release this trauma so that he or she doesn't carry it through their whole life. Because later on in life, it creates patterns, and it feels like, okay, this is just a pattern that I can't seem to resolve. I can't think it through. I don't understand it. I'm just going to have to accept it and live with it. And what we've learned is very often these are really early trauma imprints that you need to have support and contact and someone who understands this language to be able to help these memories come to the surface so that they can be acknowledged and validated and healed. So
yeah, it is never too late to do that.
It's never too late. Oh.
As a baby, as a child, as adult, an adult.
We even work with babies in the womb. Like, babies will communicate with you from inside the womb. So they'll kick you. My sister's baby kicked her all the time. It was so annoying to her. And so she came to visit me. And I remember sensing into the baby in the womb and then talking to her and putting my hand on my sister's belly. And she just stopped. She was trying to get my sister's attention. And my sister didn't quite know how to connect with her, so she just kept kicking her. And then when you acknowledge, hi, I can feel you connecting with me. You're kicking, I feel it, I hear you, I'm with you, to rub the belly. I wonder what it is you're telling me. I'll sense into it, and just to be with the baby, to acknowledge it, to answer to the baby in the womb. I've heard a lot of stories of parents talking to the baby in the womb and the baby communicating, playing music and then playing that same music from when the baby was inside, when the baby's outside.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it?
It really is.
Okay, so I think people can have an idea what you are gonna bring to us in your presentation, and I appreciate a lot to talking with you, and I'm looking forward your presentation in our upcoming Congress, Alison. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.